Thank you all for coming. My name is Phil Wallace. I'm the executive director of this wonderful campus and museum. Woo! Yay! Yeah, it feels pretty good. It's been a great summer. Please do come back if you haven't come. We're open every day but Monday. Tonight, this evening, a beautiful evening, we're here to honor a friend we all know, who is sitting next to me, Rose Styron. And yes, really, we're all here in honor of Rose and what Rose believes so dearly and passionately about. And that's why this is what it is. Poetry, the written word, human rights, all in the form of drama, the written word, and music. And where we're standing is where that's all going to happen. This is the stage. And I'm actually going to ask both Lew and Rose to talk a little bit. We're just going to have a little bit of a conversation here because there's a lot going on. If you just look back towards the Lindemann Pavilion and the Fresnel lens, just look at that stone. And really, Lew, please talk more about this. But at every time of day, the light, your island light, changes everything you see. Tonight, we have the shadows and the golden hour, which is lighting it up almost like it on fire. And you come in the morning, and the sun will rise over here, and you have all sorts of different shadows and lights. And yes, the Canada geese will be here, and you can say hi to them as well. But this is a special place, and I'm just going to tell you 3 different sections. And I'd love it, Lew and Rose, if you walked us a little bit, how did the beginning happen over there, and then here, and then we'll end here, and we'll have some poetry. But there are 3 areas, and if you look over where Gina Stanley is one of our conversation areas, and Lew will talk a little bit more about the stone and how that emerged. The area under the arbor is what we call our community conversation. These might be places that you have conversations that are hard to have. Right now we're having a conversation around renewable energy and wind and our commercial fishermen, and we haven't figured out how to do this together. We would like to envision that as a place where you can come and talk and share and figure out what needs to be done. And when we're standing here, this is for poetry, for human rights, for a program that we're going to develop around that. This is a stage, and Lew even had some musicians up here to make sure that this would work if we got up here jamming a little bit. So this is that 3rd area that we are going to have as our program. Lew and Rose, could you guys just have a little conversation, maybe Lew leading a little bit, talking about the farther area and how it emerged. And Rose, you're part of that conversation because you and Lew spent a lot of time sitting on those stones right over there back in April when Lew started. By the way, what you're seeing, 4 months. 4 months. Lew started this April 16th. Everything you see, 4 months. Incredible. Lew French. Let's give Lew a little round of applause.
Thank you. I'm not going to say too much because this is really about Rose. And the garden space is the garden space, but it's really to honor Rose and her life and what she's brought to the island and just everywhere she goes. And one of the best things for me about being able to design this and doing this is getting to know Rose, because I didn't really know her, and I think it's been like about 1.5 years now, and it's such a wonderful treat to be able to be around her. And I just want to say quickly, like with the stonework, it's a combination of island stone, the boulders. It's the big pieces, the standing pieces are from abandoned quarries, which I go and source and then bring to the island. And then, like, this isn't really a millstone, it's a big pulley is what it is, where it would have had a leather belt. There's like maybe 6, 7 elements. There's a horse trough from the 1800s. There's well covers. That's almost like the third type of stone that's used here, which is like totally a man-made piece of stone, which I like that concept of humans working things. This is maybe 150 years old. Some of the pieces that have been worked are 200 years old. So it's this thing of the totally natural glacial deposit, boulder pieces from Chilmark, and then going down the line with the other materials. And for me, doing the design, it's basically the outdoor walls are done. What you see is what you get. It's more, in my mind, of the spaces between the components. And the overall thing in my mind is I wanted to feel like a room. In a sense, what is it? I mean, hopefully it makes sense. Hopefully the components go together into a bigger overall design, but it's just really kind of what's going on. I don't even know what's going on, but just to try to have a balance with it. And it's a long ways from really being done. There needs to be a lot more done to it, but the exterior walls are up. So, and Rose and I have, we were able to discuss different plants, and that's kind of like the next phase that's really going to happen is how do we really want the interior space to be with plant material? How is it going to really function? Those kind of things. So.
Well, I'm incredibly grateful to my new friend, new because I've been around for so long, and my best new friend who we had our initial conversation, I think, about how poetry and your art really use the same methods of finding the words, the stones, and then figuring out how to put them together.
Right,
and
exactly.
Seeing, what came out of it. Right. And I certainly never would have said yes to something like a garden in my name, which I thought was pretty embarrassing at first. But then when Lew began to work, and he has worked day and night every day since April, I am simply floored and flattered and grateful to Phil and the museum, and especially to all my friends who I see around here. It's just an absolute delight for me. And because of it, I'm going to live another 90 years, so you'll have to come back. All yours.
And maybe it'll be done by then.
Oh, thank you both. This is exactly what I think we all dreamed would happen. Conversation, laughter, joy, right at this time of day. Family, friends, multiple generations. So thank you for being here. We want to share a little bit of why this is here, and that's going to be some poetry. But before we do that, because Rose is chomping at the bit, she said she would share some poetry from her book. But there are many, many friends here, and no speeches. Don't worry, we're not doing anything like that. But many friends wanted to just share their love of you and what you've meant to them. That each come up. Maybe Skip and Charlene, do you want to come up? And then we're going to do a picture of Rose.
Okay, this is unrehearsed. This is the hardest song in the whole canon of songs ever written or sung by black people. And of course, it's the one Rose wanted us to do.
True.
So, Charlene and I rehearsed over in the grass about, 15 to 20 minutes ago. But we've sung it before, but we're going to do a combination of singing it. It was written by James Weldon Johnson in 1900 and first performed when Booker T. Washington came to his high school in Florida. And then his brother, J. Rosamond Johnson, set it to music. And now it's known, and then it quickly became known as the Negro National Anthem. Politically correct people call it the Black National Anthem or African American, but we call it the Negro National Anthem because that's the damn title.
He insisted I call it that.
So, if you would indulge us. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmony harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
Kathy and I met Rose in 2010 at an event in Dublin, which recognized an ambassador of conscience. Amnesty International has been recognizing ambassadors of conscience for many years. And in 1985, Seamus Heaney wrote a poem called From the Republic of Conscience to commemorate the 25th anniversary of Amnesty International. And it's because of Amnesty and Rose's outstanding work. And I'd like to share that with you now. It's a combination of poetry and human rights, which is what she really stands for. And if I get a little choky in the middle of it, it's not because I forgot, it's because I'm listening from my heart. From the Republic of Conscience. When I landed in the Republic of Conscience, it was so noiseless when the engine stopped, I could hear a curlew high above the runway. The immigration clerk was an old man who produced a wallet from his homespun coat and showed me a photograph of my grandfather. The woman in customs asked me to declare the words of our traditional cures and charms to heal dumbness and to avert the evil eye. No porters, no interpreter, no taxis. You carried your own burdens, and very soon your symptoms of creeping privilege disappeared. Fog is a dreaded omen there, but lightning spells universal good, and parents hang swaddled infants in trees during thunderstorms. Salt is their precious mineral, and seashells are held to the ears during births and funerals. Their sacred symbol is a stylized boat. The sail is an ear, the mast a sloping pen, the hull a mouth shape, the keel an open eye. At their inauguration, public leaders must swear to uphold unwritten laws and weep to atone for their presumption to hold office, and to affirm their faith that all life sprang from salt and tears which the sky god wept after he dreamt his solitude was endless. I returned from that frugal republic with my 2 arms the one length, the customs woman having declared my allowance was myself. The old man rose and gazed into my face and said that was now an official recognition that I was now a dual citizen. He therefore desired me when I got home to consider myself a representative and to speak on their behalf in my own tongue. Their embassies, he said, were everywhere, but operated independently, and no ambassador would ever be relieved. Seamus Heaney.
Wow.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Ed.
Rose,
Wow.
you have some poetry. You have beautiful friends. Would you like to share?
Well, I wasn't going to read anything serious, but after I hear that from Ed, I'll read one serious poem. These are from my 1996 book by Vineyard Light, the only thing I ever made money on. And because it's all about the vineyard, I thought I would read a couple of poems from it. And I hadn't decided to read this one, but now that Ed has read a serious poem, and fall is upon us, unfortunately. Each crisp autumn, there are fewer leaves, more clarity, light cycles of the hay mound, odors of late roses, rivers rushing where we once meandered, content in the casual chaos of each season. plotting no espionage because we did not know the world as terror then. So these are poems. I'm not going to read about the fair and about all the things of this week. Illumination night. This is called Sand Music. Falling asleep on the beach in September, the last fairy's oboe gone. I am caught in the cobwebs of dusk in the hammock, of wickets that sprouted croquet on the lawn, of lattices climbing with trumpets and moonseed and clouds in their halos at dawn. You know there's going to be a lot of trumpet vine up here. That's what has been designed, so that's what made me think of that one. Hang on, we don't need illumination light. And this is appropriate to my age. It's about Cape Pogue. All these by Vineyard Light poems are about different parts of the vineyard that I have traversed and loved. And there's some little tiny knockoffs of this book inside that you may want to show people or sell. When I am old as Socrates and suns have bleached my mind, with herring gulls I'll sail and dive this golden vineyard strand. Starlight will comb the looking glass, glittering days behind, as I follow silver minnows into Wonderland. And I think the last poem I'll read is the Ballad of Martha's Vineyard. Can I read that? Okay. My island in the morning is the palest porcelain sky, a gull call and a whistle and the ferry gliding by. Clematis spilling on the hedge and children on the pier and sounds of summer everywhere I turn again to hear. My island in the morning is blue enameled sky, clouds that hide 1,000 kites and sailboats slanting by. Grasses to rouse my early feet, shells to rule the sands, and miles of crystal mirroring the long bright lands, till fountains far Ravello, ruined temples on the Nile, old libraries, Isla Negras, or Zanzibars beguile, and labyrinth and white fjord, volcano, cave, and quay, and spice routes to the Orient set spinnakers for me. Morning with the morning, a pomegranate sky, the bay a pewter symphony as geese go honking by, and mica panes that glisten from houses on the beach, the lighthouse like an Indian scout measuring autumn's reach. I sight a vineyard harbor, a foil and tissue sky, the echo of a foghorn, an airplane silvering by, a sea of opals breaking, a moonshell opening wide, and fishermen gone seeking where the lucks of winter ride. Oh, stay as morning, island, a changing song and sky, a lover, a deceiver, while my life goes skimming by. In storm clouds and a racer's wind, fresh rain and spits of foam, the bay a sudden topaz, and a rowboat turning home. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. Thank you. Thank you all.
Yes.